Let's read the story, We Shall Overcome, the story of a song, written by Levy and illustrated by Vanessa Brantley-Newton. We shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome someday. I'll be all right, I'll be all right, I'll be all right someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe I'll be all right someday. Back in slavery times, when enslaved people worked long days with no pay and no say, no freedom, no fairness, no choice and no chance, the people sang. They suffered, yet they sang, to soothe the hurt, to fight the cruelty, to declare that yes, they were human beings. I'll overcome someday, I'll overcome someday. If in my heart I do not yield, I'll overcome someday. It took a war, the Civil War, to end slavery, but even after, white people treated black people as less than fully human, excluding them, ignoring them, blaming them, even attacking them, all because of the color of their skin. Black people were no longer slaves, it was true, but they were not truly free. Still they believed things would get better. Still they sang. We will overcome, we will overcome, we will overcome someday. It wasn't easy to believe. It wasn't easy when white people shut out African Americans from good jobs and good pay, schools and libraries and neighborhoods, restaurants and hotels and bathrooms, train cars and bus seats, playgrounds and parks. But Black Americans and some white Americans did believe they could overcome the unfairness, hate, and violence. They started to protest. They brought a church song, I Will Overcome, to the streets. But since they were marching and working together, they sang, We will overcome. We together will overcome. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we will overcome someday. These sashes say the Union will see us through. We will win this fight. We will win our rights. We will organize. From the streets, the song reached the ears of city people, country people, followers, and leaders. It reached Martin Luther King, the most important leader, working for justice for African Americans. He took the song with him in his heart everywhere he traveled. The words changed a little, but the spirit stayed the same. We shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. There were many forms of race hatred and many ways to fight it. Some students fought by sitting down in restaurants and asking to be served. They didn't ask for free food. They didn't want special service. They just wanted to buy a meal like any white person could. The students sat and sat, waiting for hamburgers, donuts, and sodas that never came. The students sat and waited until they were arrested, and as they were taken away to jail, they sang, We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. More and more people decided to stand up for rights for African Americans. One small group, the Freedom Singers, traveled 50,000 miles in 9 months to living rooms, concert halls, elementary schools, jails, high schools, and rallies, bringing We Shall Overcome to people in 40 states, inspiring them to believe that change was coming. We are not alone. We are not alone. We are not alone today. The biggest gathering of people united in support of fairness for African Americans took place in the nation's capital, marching toward the Lincoln Memorial. Hundreds of thousands of people, black and white and young and old, joined hands, joined voices, and sang, "We'll walk hand in hand, we'll walk hand in hand, we'll walk hand in hand someday." We must overcome the crippling legacy of bigotry and injustice, and we shall overcome. Slowly, slowly, things were changing. Laws were passed, but race hatred stayed strong, even stronger than laws. So President Lyndon Johnson gave his speech. His ancestors once held slaves in Texas and Georgia, but President Johnson looked out at the millions of people watching him on television, spoke of equal rights, human rights, and voting rights for African Americans, and recited the words of the song. How could such a song stay in one country? It could not. "We Shall Overcome" sailed across the oceans to other countries where people faced injustice. It traveled to South Africa, where Black Africans embraced it as their own freedom song in their long struggle against an all-white government that treated them as outcasts in their own land. Black and white together, black and white together, black and white together someday. We will live in peace, we will live in peace, we will live in peace someday. The song traveled to India, East Germany, South Korea, Czechoslovakia, Northern Ireland, Bangladesh, China, the Middle East, South America, wherever people worked for a better life. Even as it spread across the globe, the song never really left its American home. It took a very long time, but race hatred did grow weaker. Freedom grew stronger. President Lyndon Johnson was followed by another president and another and another and another and another, and then the people of the United States, black and white and young and old, elected an African American man to be their president. On that day, people sang the song that so many voices had sung before in pain and protest. On that day, they sang in happiness. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. And these signs say change. Today, people still struggle against hatred and for freedom, against poverty and for fairness, against despair and for hope. We still sing. We sing to declare that yes, we are all human beings deserving of respect, sharing the same planet, the same future together. No single day marks the birth of the song We Shall Overcome. No single person is its author. No single performance was the first. Rather, We Shall Overcome is the product of many voices singing similar songs over many years in many places. As the song passes from one person to another, the words and melodies changed, but the message of hope and determination stayed the same. Here is a timeline of the song. We shall overcome. The end. We finished.